We're
All
cool.
right, here we are,
Could
and
you close the door, Dwayne, please? Sorry about
yay,
that.
that's
I
okay.
Dwayne calls me Magellan because I have no sense of direction and no sense of technology. So,
Great, great.
Well, welcome.
well, thank you. So you must be Rick.
I am.
You're Rick. And then are you Deb?
And I'm Deb, and I'm going to
Deb?
flip you around because Carolyn's working the board. Got to say hi to Carolyn.
Hi, Carolyn.
Yeah. Bye.
Good to see you.
All right, you met the crew. Yes, indeed.
Yes.
And, we're at this little community radio station. And we read your bio, not all of it, but a lot of it. Rick did a great job.
Yes.
And because we recognize, of course, all those wonderful musicians that you've worked with over the years. In the background right now is one of your songs. You might not be hearing it because we're talking to you on the computer, but we just played the Boots you walked into town with.
Boots I came to town
in. I just want to welcome you and tell you how excited we are for you and your music and to have you here with us on Moccasin Tracks today. But that song has a story, I'm sure.
Oh, the Boots I came to town in?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They were almost the boots that drove me to the poorhouse. They cost an arm and a leg. A gentleman named Bo Riddle made the boots, and they're the boots that, they're on the cover of the album, so you can see them there. But they're triple inlay, and since then he made me two more pairs, and then he moved back to Texas, and I have no idea. I hope he's still alive. But he made boots for all, Porter Wagner and, oh my God, George Jones and all the big ones. So talented.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And so important to have the right boots to do the music that you do.
Well, I tell you what, when I kick the keys, everybody sees the boots. So I've made, I'm a hard act to follow because I feel like I always have to wear some fancy boots. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we really have played for years. One of my favorite tunes was This Land Is Our Land from your musical. And it stands alone and can be played at any time, during our show because it really speaks to many issues, especially that we love the land. And gosh, that voice that you chose to be on that recording. Can you tell Mr. Dunbar, is it?
Eddie Dunbar.
Yeah.
Yes. He lived in Nashville for a while. I'm not sure if he's still here, but yeah, I mean, he was known all around Music Row as a great, great, great singer that could just walk into the session, hear the song once or twice, and nail it. And he's quite a character too. But yeah, and how that song actually came about was a good friend of mine, James Nyhan, had gotten a good start on the lyrics, and I loved them. And he asked me if I wanted to put music to it. And James is very, very spiritual. If you guys look him up on Facebook, he lives out in the country, and he's always having gatherings, and he's very intuitive. So the lyrics just rocked right out.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Yes, you're right. It is such an important song because this land is not our land, It's only ours to use and ours to nourish and take care of. And we have to share, we have to share it with other beings on the planet.
And also the teaching of how to care for it seems to be really important these days. And I really appreciate so many of the grandmothers that are water protectors and the land defenders from all the tribes doing such good work out there for the land and for all of us, really. Yeah.
Yeah, so, because the planet isn't going to get any more land that we know of, right?
Right.
The planet isn't going to physically grow. But man, the population sure is.
Yeah,
You got to really take great care of it.
yeah, and pass down that love for the land and for the people and for those traditions. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. You said in the email you just went to perform the Angels That Walk Among Us song.
Angels Among Us.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
that's so beautiful. Do you want to tell us a little bit about how that song gets shared around?
Oh, yeah. Well, a lot of people have heard how I wrote it. If you've seen it and heard it online, have you? Because
No, I haven't.
oh, you haven't.
No.
Well, it's a little bit of a lengthy story, but if we have time, I can sort of put it more in a nutshell for you
Okay,
guys.
sure, that'd be
Um,
great.
Before Christmas of 1985, I started getting premonitions that I was going to be in some kind of an accident. And this would happen like right when I was falling asleep. It would feel like I'd been hit. I would have some kind of an impact. And I'd sit up in bed and question why, what is going on? Anyway, this feeling persisted uh, through the Christmas holidays. In fact, my then boyfriend and I drove back to Oklahoma, and a couple of times I got that feeling, and I asked him to pull over on the side of the road, and he did a couple of times. Anyway, we made it back home to Oklahoma, and then back to Nashville, and I thought, this was all my imagination. I'm going to be fine. And then that feeling kept happening when I try to go to bed. Not every night, but every once in a while. So fast forward to the wee hours of the morning of my birthday, January 24th, 1986. I was in my kitchen making myself a birthday cake because I was going to have friends over later that evening. And I got that overwhelming feeling again, and then an energy pulled me out to my front yard. When I say pulled, I mean no one took hold of my arm, but it felt like it. And the energy, I went out to my front yard, and I stood under this little maple tree, and I looked up at the January sky, and I heard a very loud masculine voice say, "Be careful, this may be your last birthday." And I asked for more answers, and I didn't get it. And I went back in the house, and I was very disturbed. Anyway, I made the cake, had people over later, went to bed, had people over later that evening, had a nice gathering. And the very next morning, my band and I got in my Dodge Maxi van with the trailer. We went to Albertville, Alabama, and played a policeman's benefit. Had a great gig. We were back in my van outside of Albertville on our way back to Nashville, and it was cold, very cold, and it was raining. And I'm sitting right behind the driver, and I looked out the left window, and there's an 18-wheeler barreling towards the intersection. And I thought, my God, if his light turns red, he's not going to be able to stop. And boom, right then I felt our driver, Randy, take his foot off the brake, and I yelled, "Stop!" really loud. He jammed on the brakes. The 18-wheeler smashed into us into the left front of the Dodge Maxi van. We spun off, the trailer spun off, we spun around, and then dead silence. And I thought, this is what they were trying to tell me, and we're gone, because it was everybody was silent. It was so then as we started coming to and moaning and going, what happened? So we were all taken to the hospital to get checked out. No major injuries, just a lot of soft tissue damage. I was sore for months, when you're in an impact. But anyway, and then we stayed at the local Holiday Inn there, put us up. Thank you for free. The police were great. So I wrote down, when I got back to Nashville, we had friends that came and got us and rented a van, got our amps and instruments. So when I got back to Nashville, I wrote down, I believe there are angels among us. And I savored that title for years, for 6 years. And I'd work on it when I'd go back to Oklahoma to visit my mom. I'd sit in my dad's geezer chair and pray that something would come. And I worked on it as I was driving, but it would not. I wanted to set up. I had most of the chorus and the melody, but I wanted a song that children could relate to, because more children than adults see and hear their angels, I think, because they're less in tune with this physical world and more in tune with the spiritual world. So finally, after 6 years of nurturing and having I knew the chorus was so special. I called my old buddy Don Goodman, and Don and I had co-written Jones on the Jukebox and a whole bunch of songs. And Don is a word wizard. And when he plugs in, he starts pacing the room, waving his arms, and shouting out lyrics. Oh, so wow. He said, Beck, I got it. Beck, I got it. And he painted the picture of walking home from school. And then the second verse would just float out of us. Yes, so this song has been used for numerous charities. If this is all I ever did on the planet, I'm so grateful for this song, because it has done a lot of good.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's just beautiful. And your story is timeless, and it really matters. Thank you for sharing that with us. Yeah.
Oh, you're so welcome. This event that I just attended in Little Rock, it was so beautiful because they were honoring a woman that had just, when they had decided to honor her, she had not passed away yet, but she had just passed away a couple of weeks before. But she was truly an angel among us, working with hospital patients and going out of her way to help people.
Yeah. You know, Rick, you recognize so many of the artists that Becky has worked with. You know, what was your reaction when you first started reading about Becky?
She's worked with everyone.
Well, you know, everyone except the newest ones, because there are so many now that country music artists that are happening. But boy, you know what? I am grateful that I came along when I did, because I got to tour Europe with Johnny Cash and June Carter Cash.
Wow.
I got to open shows for the Possum, George Jones. I got to hang out with him and Nancy backstage. Of course, oh my gosh, I'm thinking of all the ones that have left us that I got to open for. Loretta Lynn, Tammy Wynette, the greats.
Yeah. Wow. But what brought you first to Nashville? Can you share your story of, you know, some of your first adventures in country music?
Yeah, well, actually, have you guys seen the little 6-minute video on my homepage at beckyhobbs.com?
I might have.
If you haven't, then the listeners the viewers here today might want to go back and see that. It sort of tells my life story in 6 minutes. But yeah, when I was growing up in Bartlesville, Oklahoma, I started writing songs when I was 9 years old.
Wow.
And I formed what has now been documented as the first all-female rock band in the state of Oklahoma. Started Four Faces of Eve in 1965 when I was 15 years old, and we weren't even old enough to drive yet. But my dad and one of the other gals' dads would drive us to the gig, and then they were instructed by us to pull around in the back so no one would see them, so the boys wouldn't know that we were too young to drive, right? So we get up there, and we had 2 volumes on our amplifiers, loud and louder. We would just get up there and rock, and God only knows, I'm sure, you know, after the show, the guys would sort of come up hanging their heads, and they'd say, well, you're pretty good for girls. Okay, thanks. So anyway, that's how I got into this. The all-girl band toured around the country. I need to turn this thing off. And then I wound up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The all-girl band played in Baton Rouge, and we played some fraternity parties there. And by then, the all-girl band had gotten down to three of us gals, and we were pretty much breaking up. So I was invited to join a Southern rock band called Swamp Fox. I was down there for 2 years, and I always describe my time in Baton Rouge as I got to Baton Rouge, I washed my hair, played a gig, and my hair stayed wet for 2 years because it was so humid down there. And I was always washing my hair to go play the gig. So the guitar player, Louis Anderson, and I decided it's time we go out to LA. And we had one contact name, Len Orso, who was very active in the Baton Rouge music scene. And he produced John Fred and the Playboy Band. Remember Judy in Disguise with Diamonds? So we got out to LA, and Len Orso gave us the name of Kim Fowley, and we called Kim Fowley. And y'all know who Kim Fowley was?
Yeah, wasn't he, I want to say, wasn't he the manager of the Runaways?
Yes.
Okay.
And he got the idea of forming the Runaways from my all-girl band. When Louis and I got to LA, Kim took us under his wing, and he took me around to play songs live for Lou Adler, Cheech of Cheech and Chong, I know all these people that he knew, and I'm sitting in Lou Adler's office playing the old upright that Carole King used to ride on in the Brill building because Lou Adler managed her and he ran Ode Records. So my little hands are just shaking, and I'm playing and singing for Lou Adler. But so through Kim Fowley, we got to meet a lot of people, and the coolest thing is Kim. Let me think of what I was getting ready to say. Louis Anderson and I did not know it, but Kim Fowley pitched a song of ours to Bob Ezrin. He said, this friend of mine, Bob Ezrin's, got a new group, and they've had a couple of albums out, but they haven't really done anything yet. So we pitched them a song called Ain't None of Your Business. Never heard anything. Kim Fowley has since passed. When the Kiss Destroyer album came out a couple of years ago, their 45th anniversary of the original Destroyer album, our song, Ain't None of Your Business, is on there twice. It's like a 4-album set. It's on there twice as an outtake with Peter Criss singing and an instrumental. So after 45 years, Louis and I found out we got a Kiss cut. It's only on the big, it's on the big deluxe set that cost over. I had to pay $206 for the big deluxe set just to hear my song. It's worth it.
That's great. Well, I've got 2 questions. What took you back to write the musical about your great-grandmother, 5th great-grandmother? And also, what took you to Africa? It says in your bio you were, 9 different countries in Africa you performed in?
Yes, I'll answer that one first, and then we'll go into Nanyehi.
Okay.
Yes. Well, Louis and I were out. I was out in LA for 9 years, and I was even out there when the urban cowboy boom started. And I started writing songs for Al Gallico Music, who was the biggest independent song publisher. He had Billy Sherrill, Nora Wilson, the greatest, RDIVORCE, Stand By Your Man, Almost Persuaded, some of the biggest songs. I started writing for him. And then he picked up the phone and called Jerry Kennedy. Now, I had a couple of record deals in LA, and I was still trying to find my way. I was sort of like a Carole King. I mean, Carole King was, oh my God, I loved Carole King. So I was doing the singer-songwriter thing. Once the urban cowboy craze moved in and I started writing for Al Gallico, there was no stopping me. He picked up the phone, called Jerry Kennedy, who was the head of Mercury Records, and he goes, Jerry, he says, I got this girl singer. Yeah, her name's Becky Hobbs. Yeah, she sings good, she writes good, she looks good. You got to sign her. And then he hung up the phone. He said, kid, I got you a record deal. So, so I'm going to Nashville. Al and I went to Nashville. My first night in Nashville, Al Gallico took me to Billy Sherrill's house because he had signed Billy and he had publishing on all those great Billy Sherrill songs. And Billy Sherrill, Al asked me to play I Can't Say Goodbye to You, which I had written a couple of years before, and it had won first place in the easy listening category of the American Song Festival. So I'm sitting in Billy Sherrill's living room, opulent, at like a 9-foot grand piano. And he says, "Play your song for Billy, kid. Play your song for Billy." So my hands are shaking. I played and sang "I Can't Say Goodbye to You." Billy's sitting there like in the corner with his legs crossed. And I get done with the song and he says, "Play it again." He said, "But this time, sing "Without You I'd Cry." I was singing "Without You I'd Die" in the song. He says, "You're not going to die, but you're going to cry." I said, "Okay." So I sang it again, and then just silence. And nobody said anything. And then Al and Billy and Billy's wife, they continued chatting. So when Al and I got ready to leave to go to the Spence Manor Hotel, which is where I was staying and getting ready to record the next morning with Jerry Kennedy, Al told me, he says, "Billy wants your song for Tammy Wynette." And I said, "Oh boy, a Tammy Wynette. I love Tammy Wynette." And Al goes, No. He says, "I told him, hey, Billy, it's the kid's song. It got her record deal. She's cutting it tomorrow morning with Jerry Kennedy."
Oh.
I know.
Wow.
So, but,
wow.
But now, I mean,
yeah,
it was like, wow. So Jerry was my first Nashville producer, and I loved him. And I had some of the greatest session cats, Pig Robbins on piano and Jerry Croon on drums. And in Nashville, there's so many top session players, and they're amazing.
Yeah.
And when I played my song for them, I was going to tell them what chords I was playing. And then I saw that just as fast as they could write down, they were doing the number system, and they were all writing their own charts, just boom, 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 boom.
Wow.
You guys have probably heard about the number system in Nashville.
I have not.
Tell us.
Well, it's whatever key that the song is in is the one chord. And then, like, if you're in the key of C, that's the one chord. And then you go up to an F, that would be the 4 chord. G would be the 5 chord. So literally, Nashville musicians can change keys right on the spot.
Wow.
So now I'll go into Nanyehi if you'd like.
Yeah, I'd love to hear.
Well, all my life, my mom told me, "Becca, you're a direct descendant of Nancy Ward, beloved woman of the Cherokee." And I always knew her story. And the story that I heard, this is the story that really brings people in, is that you've probably heard it or read about it. She was chewing the bullets beside her husband, Kingfisher, in the Battle of Taliwa in 1755 in what is now eastern Tennessee. It was just where the Cherokee lived back then. And Kingfisher got killed. They were fighting the Creek Indians, and they were fighting over the land. Kingfisher got killed, fell to the ground. Nanyehi took his rifle and led the Cherokees to victory. She killed his assailant, led the Cherokees to victory. She was honored as Jigayu, beloved woman, first a war woman, and then she stood up and she said, "War is not the way. Peace is the only way the Cherokees can survive. We have to live in peace," because the white people, the settlers, were invading, were on the land. Everyone was fighting for the land, and Nanyehi knew that the Europeans were here to stay. So we have to learn to live with them. And she risked her life to warn the Watauga settlements of an upcoming attack by Dragging Canoe. Dragging Canoe was being furnished his ammunition by the British. And Nanyehi knew that. And some people through the years have called Nanyehi, Nancy Ward, a traitor because she warned the white settlements. She was anything but a traitor. She knew the only way that the Cherokees could survive was to live in peace with the settlers because they were not going anywhere. So I knew this story about chewing the bullets and Nanyehi killing Kingfisher's assailant. And then in 2007, I was in my hometown, Bartlesville, Oklahoma. I was the headliner of the show, and I was playing, Angels Among Us and Hockey Talk Saturday Night, Jones, all the Jones on the Jukebox, etc. And after the show, the guy who was directing a piece that he had actors reenacting the history of Bartlesville. He came up to the autograph table and he said, "I know who Nancy Ward was." And a lot of people, even in Oklahoma, even Cherokees, a lot of people did not know Nancy Ward's story. So Nick Sweet, as it turned out, had directed The Trail of Tears at the Jollagee Theater in Tahlequah, Oklahoma for several seasons. So I'm standing at the autograph table and I just blurted out, "Let's write a musical." Well, little did I know what I was getting in for, because anyway, we embarked on writing that musical in 2007. And our very first production was in 2012 in Hartwell, Georgia. And since then, we've had 13 productions in 4 states: Georgia, Oklahoma, Texas, and Tennessee.
Wow. And
most of our productions now are at the Hard Rock in Tulsa. The Hard Rock is owned by the Cherokee Nation. And we actually have, this past year, we had more Native Americans in our musical than we've ever had.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Pretty much every Cherokee role was played by a Cherokee. And we had Wes Studi.
Yes, I saw that. Yes, I saw that.
Do you want to hear how Wes came to be in the musical? Or
yeah. Let's hear that.
If I'm blabbing too much, just stop me.
No, you're great.
Okay. Great. Well, in 2014, we had our first production at the Tulsa Hard Rock of Nanyehi. I was in Oklahoma City, and I was in the audience when Wes Studi was being interviewed by Dr. Bob Blackburn at the Oklahoma Historical Society. I'm sitting out there in the audience, and I'm thinking, Wes Studi would make a great peace chief out of Kula, who was Nanyehi's uncle, who was Nanyehi's mother, Tame Doe. Her brother was peace chief out of Kula, and he was the father of Dragging Canoe, the war chief. So anyway, after the interview, I went backstage and I met Wes, and I said, "Gosh, would you like to be in my musical and play Peace Chief out of Kula?" Wow. And Wes said, "Does he have a song?" And I said, "No, but I'll write you one." So I wrote "Love Doesn't Come in Colors" specifically for Wes Studi to sing. Wow. Okay, so to speed it up, it did not work out at that time to have Wes in our musical, but 10 years later, a year ago this past January, Wes was on Finding Your Roots, and he was determined to be a fellow Nancy Ward descendant. I could not have written a better script. So at that time, I reached out to the powers that be, and I said I would love to have Wes in our musical. And I reached out to Wes, and he was in our musical last year in Tulsa at the Hard Rock. And he set such a wonderful example for all of our actors, because he was kind, he was helpful, he did not have the big ego thing going, and he rocked the part. He was beautiful to work with.
Oh, wow, that's so cool. Yeah. What a beautiful story. I love your stories, and I love to hear this successful career that you've had. And you are so joyous, and you really enjoy yourself. And it's wonderful to see that.
Thank you. And I have a feeling you enjoy yourself too.
Yeah.
And Rick too.
Yeah.
I think I think we're here to be joyful. We're here to help each other and promote love and peace.
Absolutely.
And getting along, doing good things for people.
Yeah.
Well, my impression, Becky, is that you are so you just continue to create and create and create and create. And it's not the same flavor. I mean, you do different songs that have different feelings and words, and I'm very impressed.
Thank you. Are you a musician as well? Either one of you guys, or?
I am a visual artist.
Oh.
And I do CD covers. I've done album covers, magazines, books. I worked with Angie Bowie for 14 years.
Wow.
David's first wife.
Wow.
And we just, about a year ago, we decided we'd had enough of each other. So.
Wow. But what a wonderful career, though. And I love David Bowie. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. She published my work in 5 different books.
Really?
And 2 of them are just drawings that I did. And she kind of wrote little anecdotes with the stuff. It's called Gaucho Visions.
Gaucho Visions. I'm going to Google that.
Okay.
Awesome.
So just to let you know, I can draw anything. And if you ever need an illustrator in a pinch, I'm here for you.
Okay. I appreciate that. I'm making myself a big old note about that. Be careful what you tell me, because I'll be calling.
Yeah. Are there any other songs that you would like us to play today from the album? We played Pale Moon.
Mm-hmm.
And This Land Is Not Our Land.
Mm-hmm.
Just was wondering if you had any, choice.
Well, Let There Be Peace is the final song of the night. And it's interesting because the first songs I wrote were back in 1993, and it was Pale Moon that you had mentioned, and Let There Be Peace, and By the Fire, which now is all different in the musical. We have made it into a duet. Since I made this album, some of the songs have morphed into duets that were just solos. And then maybe one song isn't in the musical anymore. And then I've added a couple more songs because we needed the West Studi song isn't on this album. Love Doesn't Come in Colors. But yes, I would, if you're going to play another song, I would suggest Let There Be Peace, because that was her mission, was to make peace.
Yeah. Well, we're going to play that as we end. We do have only a few more minutes. Becky Hobbs, it's just been an honor to talk to you today. Yeah. I know you're going to be an inspiration for our viewers and our listeners, and I'm really grateful for that. Rick, closing comments?
This has been wonderful, and I want to thank you for coming on the show. And I hope you'll be back sometime. And it's been an honor. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. And I've been Googling around and watching your other shows. And thank you all, and also Carolyn, because I know she's the
she's
team.
In the background. Yep.
3 are the team. I want to thank all 3 of you all for what you're doing. You're bringing information to today's world and to people and things that we need to hear.
Yep.
So thank you.
Yeah, and we're bringing it through community radio, which is kind of the grassroots effort, because, we're all volunteers, and we're keeping those airwaves open. I always say that I'm holding the space for the indigenous perspective, and I started doing it because the Abenaki people of this area were fighting for state recognition. It took 30, 40 years, but they finally made it in 2010. So, I wanted to hear their voices, and yes. So that's how I got started with this radio show. I moved over here to include two Abenaki people, Carolyn and Rick, a husband and wife, to join me in co-hosting, and we've been just having so much fun. So we thank you for joining us in our, humble endeavors here.
Gosh, thank you. And thank you for having me in my humble endeavors. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's really been fun. And we will continue to play your music and share some of your videos on our social media. And yay! I hope you come back sometime. And thank you again. And Carolyn's going to play a song for us. Thank you, Carolyn.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
We see you again.
Okay.
Only. Only bumpkin.
Now I am old, but my story